Hey Retro fans, welcome to another quick episode of Retro Gaming Memories. In this episode we're going to take a quick look at something that arrived through the post today, something that I backed on Kickstarter about a year ago I think. It's one of the Quickstarter projects that I've backed. Yeah, it was something that was pretty cool. In fact, you've probably seen by the title, I don't know why I keep doing that, but anyway, for people that have either arcade one-up cabinets or build their own cabinets or indeed have the real cabinets, the Star Wars Flight Yoke is the holy grail almost of arcade collectibles. Seconded only by the Ikari Warriors joystick, but the Flight Yoke for the Star Wars cabinets has been the holy grail. I've never owned the real one, but I believe they're a little bit of a nightmare to keep going because the components inside were made of plastic and they get stripped over time and all that kind of stuff. There was a company called RAM Controls, I think it was, made a kind of aftermarket one, and it was available for a short time in very limited quantities, and it went for like 300 and odd pounds. It was very, very expensive. I did look into one, I can't remember, there was one other guy who was making them based in America, and to buy the Flight Yoke, the USB controller and the Atari sticker to go over it, it was something like $385, and it was nearly $100 to post it. I was like, don't be stupid, that's just ludicrous. And at the time I was looking at all this stuff, they didn't have the arcade one-up Star Wars cabs here. So Glenn's Retro Show, which is a YouTube channel, if you don't watch it you should, it's good fun. Glenn from there does a lot of arcade one-up kind of modifications, conversions, and he's done loads of good things. He's made a kind of outrun cabinet type or drive-in cabinet before Arcade One-Up announced their outrun cab, and he's made custom controls. It was fueled, I believe, way back by the Atari 12-in-1, which was a centipede cabinet that had asteroids and things on it, but it also used a spinner. I think it was for Tempest, but the spinner was horrible in the first generation arcade cabs. It was actually a positional, like a clicky rotary dial thing. It wasn't a free spinning spinner. So anyway, Glenn took it upon himself, he's obviously a clever chap, and took it upon himself to create a free spinning spinner that was essentially a direct swap out for the arcade one-up stuff. And that was a Kickstarter campaign. I didn't back it personally because I've got a spinner that I use on my cabs, but this was specifically a straight swap out for the arcade one-up cabs. That was what it was designed for, and it went very well. And he's done a Tron joystick, so you can do a Tron conversion. You can make your own Tron cabinet with a proper reproduction stick and spinner and things like that. So he's got history in making these products, good quality products, and people seem to like what he does. So when he announced the Star Wars Flight Yoke, I was like, yep, I'm all over that. The early bird, I think it was 130 quid it cost me. I got stung on customs. It come in and it was £35 customs to get it through the door, which is a pain in the ass. But anyway, for what it is, I think it's worth the money. It is a lot of money, but to get the holy grail of arcade controls and to be able to play these games properly, for that kind of money is just amazing to me. You'd never get a reproduction one or even old off, non-working ones off a cab for that kind of money. So anyway, enough of the spiel. It is here, and you know what, it's a heavy beast, which is reassuring. I'm going to put my goggles on. This, although Glenn's based in America, this came from China, so I have washed this 3 times with anti-back wipes, just to be sure, because it also sat in a post office for a week, which also had a COVID outbreak. So yeah, just trying to be as careful as I can. I know it's overkill, but better being safe than sorry with the whole COVID nonsense. So yeah, I don't know how much it actually weighs, but there we go. It is the GRS, the Glenn's Retro Show Flight Yoke. So it is compatible with pretty much everything. It says here the OS, Windows, Linux, Mac, Raspberry Pi, It's also a straight plug and play for arcade one-up, arcade cabinets and PC. So it's a USB thing, so it'll basically plug into anything. And what's quite nice is the original Flight Yoke used gearing inside. And that's what the prototype of this did. Excuse me while I just use a screwdriver to open this up. The prototype of this used gearing, I believe, but then it kind of went above and beyond. So this now uses like the Hall effect sensor, so it's essentially a magnetic resistance that gets measured to be able to kind of determine where you are on the X, Y and Z axes. So anyway, enough of that nonsense. Let's see if we can get this open. Oh Jesus. Yeah, just chat amongst yourselves while I try and slice it open. For God's sake. Yeah, I'm not going to keep the box anyway, I don't care. Oh, there we go. Right. Bloody hell. Right, so in the box we have some things. We have a pamphlet and some mounting screws. Right, let's have a quick look at this. So we have a little thing from T-Stick, so it's made by thunderjoystick.com. Woohoo! So it's a little thing from Glenn. You can pause that and have a look at it. Just to backers, basically. Yeah, just a little thank you kind of thing. I have asked Glenn if he's going to consider doing the Ikari Warriors joystick, and he said he is thinking about it, so that would be tremendous if he could do that, to get an Ikari Warriors, that, I think it was SNK, it's got a name like an LS10 or something like that, the yellow kind of rotary joystick would be tremendous to be able to get that. Anyway, you've got a nice little manual here, nice plain controls, descriptions and things, tells you how to mount it, all the bits and bobs for how to connect it to the arcade one-up, also works in mouse or joystick mode, so good set of instructions there. It also comes with mounting bolts. These are just Phillips head, but they're the kind of pan head screws and bolt nuts to mount it to your cabinet. Right, so let's have a wee look then. Styrofoam packaging, always nice. It is a thing of beauty, ladies and gentlemen. It is very heavy. Oh yeah. Right, let's see if we can lift this thing out in one go. Oh, one mounting plate. So nothing else in the box apart from another bit of styrofoam. But here we are, so let's have a look. So I'm not going to discombobulate all this, but there's a mounting plate, and you can hear it's all metal, so there's a mounting plate for it. Trying to hold this all together. So you've got the various connectors hanging off it. You've got this kind of Molex connector for the arcade machine. I won't be partaking in that one. It's a good workout for your biceps and your triceps. I presume that's the arcade one-up connections. And the one I'll be using is the USB. So it just plugs in and it sees it as a mouse. Or a analog controller. So the back of the unit is just plain. There's a mounting plate, so that's going to sit like that eventually. So it does twist. Obviously you can see that through these plates here, and you can get a feel for where it goes. So the actual unit itself, see if we can do this. There we go. Underneath, nothing much exciting. It's not bad. And that is, it's not a sticker, it's like silk screens or something, which is really nice. So yeah, the double yoke, obviously, buttons there, so that's micro switched. that one isn't. Same on both sides, obviously. So there you go, there is the the flight yoke. It's really nicely constructed. It's all metal, it's really heavy. Glenn couldn't get copyright to use the Atari logo and things on this, which is why it looks the way it does. But it's really nice. The handles are plastic, but they fit the hand really nicely. Feel nice and comfortable. Yep, feels good. It's really hard to handle this thing without dropping it all. So the only thing I need to work out is how I'm going to mount this to my cabinet, because the original arcade machine had a kind of slightly angled control panel layout thing. So I'm going to have to build something similar. I'm going to have, my control panels are normally flat, obviously, with the joysticks and things. So I'm going to have to build some kind of triangular contraption to mount this into, because you want the controls to be sitting at that kind of angle, so that it's comfortable when you're standing, you're reaching down. You don't want it to be flat like that. So we'll need to have a little think, and there will be a follow-up video at some point when I actually get this mounted and put in the cabinet. I'm not going to play test it just now because I don't have my cabinet set up properly yet, and I don't have MAME excuse me, I don't have MAME installed on any of my PCs or anything in the house. So we'll do a follow-up video later on. This was just like an unboxing, but I'm really pleased with it. It feels really nice, and I'm going to put it down because it's a bit of a workout. Whew. Yeah, so really pleased with that. Let me take the goggles off. Really pleased with it. It feels reassuringly sturdy. The proof will be in the playing, obviously, but from the bits and bobs that I've seen, and certainly the play testing that Glenn did, he ran a very good campaign, lots of update videos, in the manner of Star Wars. I have to say, it was all in the manner of what he was selling. You know, it was updates for the Rebellion and all that kind of stuff. So it was really well done. Some people didn't like that style for some reason. I thought it was nice, rather than just saying, "Oh, your stuff's been delayed because of coronavirus," you know, which was inevitable. And that was nothing at all to do with Glenn, and give the guys in China their due as well. They tried everything they could to keep this moving. But there was lots of updates. It was very transparent. I would have no problem backing any of Glenn's stuff again. So yeah, I mean, it's great, and I'm looking forward to using this. I'm not just going to use it for Star Wars, but obviously that's primarily what I bought it for, the Star Wars trilogy, you know, the Empire and Jedi. To have those proper controls and to play them properly is going to be amazing. Because I've tried all sorts of things, playing it with trackballs or analog joysticks, which is about the closest you could get, really, without having one of these things. Even playing Star Wars with a light gun. But having that's going to be really good. But as well as the Star Wars trilogy, I'm going to be using it for, I mean, Glenn demoed it for lots of driving games and things, because obviously you can use it as a kind of, I don't know if it's quite got a 270 degree throw in it, but you can use it kind of like a steering wheel. And because it's all analog, you can, you know, use the handles as your throttle and whatnot. But I'm going to be using it for things like Spy Hunter, Road Blasters, Stun Runner, all these kind of things, and just try it out with some different games. It'd be interesting to try something like 720, because 720 degrees was a Hall effect joystick, that kind of analog joystick thing. It wasn't an analog joystick, it was this Hall effect. So I don't know if that would work. It'd be interesting. But playing also games like Paperboy, Enduro Racer, Hang On, that kind of thing as well, although it's not a handlebar per se, it'll be a lot closer than using a joystick. So I'm looking forward to firing it up and trying it out with these different games. My whole arcade experience that I've built, in the couple of cabs that I've built, the control panels that I've built, I've got swappable panels. I've got about 9 now, and I've got another 4 or 5 to build. But I'm trying to replicate the control sets for games as closely as possible. So I have 2 tank sticks to be able to use for like Battlezone and things like that, and Assault and these kind of things. So even where there's only a couple of games dedicated to a panel, like Defender is a perfect example. That plays Defender and Stargate, but having that panel to have the proper control layout and not having the buttons kind of just in this sort of Street Fighter 6-button configuration, which is the kind of norm on most cabs. To have that proper layout feels pretty good. I've got just control panels with just buttons on them, like an Asteroids layout, and that works for Asteroids, Space Invaders. You can play Galaxian, anything that's just obviously a left-right, Pac-Land, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'm going to have this dedicated panel for the Star Wars games and anything else that uses that kind of control. I need to buy myself a decent HOTAS stick so that I can have a kind of afterburner Space Harrier type setup with essentially a nice analog joystick. Everything else I've managed to get. I've got a good Hap Controls trackball. I've got a decent steering wheel rig for driving games. I've got the aim track light gun. I've got a proper, I can't mind the name yet, but the heavy spinner, proper arcade spinner. I've invested some money in proper decent controls. You know, I've got leaf buttons and decent Hap joysticks and things. I've got a couple of Sanwa joysticks for shot throw stuff. Because if you're going to the trouble of building cabinets and stuff, this has went off on a bit of a tangent, but I think if the whole reason that I bought this was because I want the controls on my cabinets to be as close as they can to the originals. And I think if you're going to the trouble of building panels that you can swap or have some kind of control mechanism that you can swap out on your arcade cabinets, then you're better waiting and investing on money in decent controls, because I realised using cheap buttons and things is alright, and if that's all you can afford then it's better than nothing, but it does affect your gameplay. I was running at my pal, I was running at Mainmeister's on the cabinet that I built him, but he had swapped out the buttons and put in leaf buttons, and I could put in leaf joysticks as well, and playing Galaxian was just a world apart from what it is on my cabinet, because mine's it's the little zippy sticks that are like £8 each or something like that, and the throw on them is quite long, and microswitch buttons don't actually have the response time. I was playing a better game of Galaxian on his cabinet than I was on mine, and it was because the buttons and joysticks were a lot more reactive. You could get more shots off and hit, because I was finding it really hard to hit the triple shits, you know, the kind of flagship thing in Galaxian. So I invested some money, I sold some stuff, and reinvested that in arcade controls and bought loads of bits and bobs. So yeah, anyway, this has went on far too long, me wandering a lot of nonsense. But really it was just to say that I'm stoked to have this flight yoke eventually, to be able to buy a brand new flight yoke for Star Wars is just brilliant. I'm looking forward to playing with it. We will do a follow-up video once I actually build the panel and get it put in at the cab and see what it's like. I'm sure the net will be flooded, YouTube will be flooded with videos of folk trying these out as the delivery, as the shipping kind of happens, and the guys are starting to get them, backers are starting to get them. But yeah, anyway, that's enough of my ramblings. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. It's a bit random, I know, but if you like the Star Wars arcade machines, then you'll probably like this. And for those of you who are my friends who actually live near me, once I get this built up, you will be able to come round and play it, obviously, once Corona's settled down and we're allowed to socialise again. Yes, anyway, enough for me. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time. Stay safe, folks.